We're a team. There's no I in team.
And there we go. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. If you're new to us, the Slaw's Adventures, then welcome. You're very welcome here. And if you're one of our gang, good to see you again.
Yep.
We thought that in this vlog we would share a recent experience with you, and hopefully you can learn from us. We thought it was just two of us filming tonight, but it looks like it's all four of
We're
us.
having four. Why not?
Why not?
We're
indeed?
a team.
We're a team. So, you know that we've been driving abroad for a long time. I think the first year that we took a motorhome abroad was 1999. Yeah.
About then.
And we took a Swift Royale down to the south of France. More recently, you have seen our vlogs, and we have driven in France, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Spain, France. We've driven all over, and we have never known anyone be pulled for being overweight before. And this year we've heard of at least 2 motorhomes who've been pulled while being abroad. It was a bit like the myth of being gassed in an air, but this year for us was different. One Saturday morning we were sat having coffee, watching YouTube, as you do, and we were watching Lee and Jodie from Life's for Touring, and they got pulled in France. And it was like, oh my goodness, this isn't a myth.
No.
No, we actually saw them getting pulled. I turned to Slaw and I said, we are overweight. And what did you say?
No, we're not. We're not.
Well, I was really, really nervous because we had a trip to Northern Ireland booked, and we had a trip to France booked, and I was positive that we were overweight. Slaw said we weren't, so we decided to put Helga to the test.
You worry too much, love.
Before we set off, I'm just going to weigh motorhome. We've never weighed her before, so we're fat with water and we're fat with fuel, so this might not be good. We'll find out. We'll see.
Slaw came back from the weighbridge, and who was right? Me. I knew we were overweight. I knew it.
We weren't massively overweight, but we were overweight. So, but we had a lot of stuff in the garage that we hawked round that we never used. Plus,
I think, before you move on, I think if most people went through their garage, they would have stuff in that you carry around with you that you don't need.
yeah, but it's there just in case.
Yeah.
But we never used it, half of it.
Like the spare toilet cassette.
But well, we never used hardly any of it that we've took out. So
So what did we do? We went through the garage.
yeah, but we had a full tank of fuel.
Yep.
We had a full tank of water.
When you weighed her.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And we were full with gas.
Yes.
So there's a lot of weight there. You've got 100 litres of water, 100 kilo.
Yep.
I think about 90 litres of fuel they have, so that's 90 kilo there. And then the gas full, probably another 35, 40 kilo, so 190, 220 kilo we had in fuel and water and gas. I know you need fuel and water and gas, but you don't need to run full. Anyway, we stripped out a load of crap out of the garage.
We did. We took 2 stacker boxes down to 1, which I think was quite impressive.
Yeah. Did a bit of a weigh in here instead of going back, and we were about there.
Yeah. So Northern Ireland, we were probably just about on the money, but we didn't have bikes with us or the dog trailer.
Nope.
And they weigh a lot. So I was really, really knackered about going to France really nattered, because we'd stripped out what we could. We knew we could travel with half tanks, and we were still teetering on the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'd had our van a few years ago upgraded with the airbags on the rear. When we had it done by Gary from Air Ride Punch Control, he asked me if I wanted to upplate the van. And I said, oh.
He said, no, we're not overweight.
He said, we do that, you know, when we put air on, you can upplate it. Do you want to do it? And I went, no,
No,
we're fine.
we don't need to.
I think we're fine, Gary, not a problem. You had to pay for that, but, you know. So we didn't do it. And I had a ding moment. And I thought, oh, I'll ring Gary. So I did. And I said, Gary, help. We've just got ourselves under, but we won't be able to go to France like that. We, you know, with all the stuff and the awning and everything that we take, we're going to be up there. So I rang Gary, and Gary put us in touch with SV Tech, which is a company that he uses or puts his customers on who want to upplate. And what upplating means is that you're lifting the maximum weight of your vehicle. So ours is 3.5 ton, but we need more than that. So because we've had air suspension, we can go up, but we don't know how far we can go. We needed to speak to Gareth at SV Tech. So I had a word with Gareth, and with the system on our van, which is a light Ducato chassis, not a heavy one, the maximum we could go to with the system that Gary put us on was 3850, which basically gets us out of jail. Because if we're sensible, we won't go over that. You know, if we brim everything and load it up to gunnels, we might be teetering. But it's a lot. We've got 350 kilo more than what we had before.
Yeah.
We could have gone up to 4 ton, but we'd have had to uprate the front suspension as well, which was more cost. And they didn't do it. We had to get it done elsewhere. But we were happy at 3850.
Yeah.
So Gareth asked us for a lot of information.
Yeah, be prepared. Have a tape measure.
As I said, we got up to 3850, but he needed to know what we had on.
Yeah.
We've got a tow bar, so he needed to know what the tow bar was. He needed to know the tyre size and the speed rating of the tyres, and all sorts of things like that. Questions that, you know, he asked us and we sent photos in so that he could work out. And he came, obviously, to our weight upplate of 3850.
And it was very straightforward. The things he asked for, we just needed to measure or photograph and email it through to him. It was no bother at all, was it?
No.
It was very straightforward.
Very straightforward. So once we gave him all the information, he came back with the figure of 3850, 3,850 kilos, which was the weight we could go to. And we said, yeah, great.
Yes, thank you.
Can we do that?
Can we do it quick? You know, we're going to France. Come on.
And with the tow bar, our towing weights come down from 2,000 kilos, I think, to 1,900. We towed Gina on our little trailer, which Gina and the trailer is about 800 kilos.
Yeah.
Maximum.
So we've still a bit of scope there. We've still a bit of scope.
You know, so we weren't bothered about that. And so we just waited then for Gareth to do his bit and send us the stuff back to do the upplating. We paid Gareth for the job doing it, and they're all different prices.
Yeah.
I think ours were it $290 plus VAT?
Yeah, it was about 300 plus VAT, wasn't
Something
it?
like that.
Yeah.
But they're different. They're all different depending on what you've got and what what they need to do. So he then sent back some paperwork for us, which included a certificate.
Billy's going.
Yeah, Billy's going. He sent us a certificate back and a form that we needed to fill in for the DVLA in order to get the V5 altered. We then had to send the certificate, the filled-in form, the V5 back, or part of the V5, to the DVLA. He also sent us a new VIN plate, a stick-on one, a fancy stick-on one, which we couldn't put on until we got it upplated by the DVLA. So then we had to wait for the DVLA.
And the clock was ticking for France, and it was so stressful. Like I said, I always thought motorhomes, being weighed for being overweight, was a bit of a horror story, like being gassed in an air. And then we saw people that we know get stopped and panic stations.
Yeah.
And so as the clock was ticking down for going to France, oh, the stress.
And just another point, our van's a 3.5 tonner. When I went to the weighbridge and the guy weighed us and it was over, and I went, oh, can't understand how it's over. And he said, it's always the 3.5 tonners.
Yep.
He said, because they don't have any payload, you know, and it's always them that's over. So if you've got a 3.5 tonner,
Goodness me.
strongly recommend you nip it down to a public weighbridge.
Yeah.
And get a, you know, just chuck it on and see, because I didn't think we'd be over.
No, he seriously didn't. I've always thought we were, but you seriously didn't. And our weighbridge, it's the local agricultural corn merchants, and it cost what was it, £6?
Yeah, £5 plus that to weigh it.
That's all. And it sounds like he's quite used to doing it, because he knows that the 3.5 tonners are always overweight.
Yeah.
But the process was so straightforward. I just wish we'd have done it without having that tight window for going to France. But Gareth came through, the paperwork came through, and we legally went to France. Phew. But you've heard me talk before about things that you need for going to France. So we then needed Angles Malt stickers.
Yeah, because now we're over 3.5 tonne.
Yeah.
Got to have Angles malts.
Which we did. We did, and we fitted them, and off we went to France. So I do hope that this has been useful for you. It was certainly a learning curve for us, but the process was really straightforward. We'll put in the description the details of SV Tech, because you might want to consider them. As I said, all motorhomes and circumstances are different, so, you know, please don't rely on what we were charged. You will be charged accordingly for your van, and there is no promotion from us for this other than to recommend Gareth at SV Tech, because he did a good job for us, and he saved me getting locked up.
Yeah. And also we'd had it done by Gary, who uses him all the time, so there was no problem.
No.
Yeah, so it was very easy to do.
Yeah.
And no admission of guilt or anything, because we don't. But maybe we should have done it a few years ago.
Yes, maybe we should. Maybe we should. And the last thing to leave you with is just to consider this. I know that a lot of our subscribers are of a similar age to us, so won't have a problem. But if you are younger, you will need an addition to your driving licence to drive a motorhome that has been plated above 3.5 tonne. So if you are younger and watching us, welcome. There are some of you out there, but not many. You know, you will need an addition to your driving licence to drive something bigger.
Yeah. So if you go over 3.5 tonne, you need a C1 on your licence, which, if you passed your test before 97, we just did by a year or two. Then C1 is on ours, but after 97 it's not.
No.
So if you haven't passed that, then you would need to do that.
Yeah.
Also, when you upplate, you can claim back road tax, because the road tax is actually cheaper. I think.
Work that one out.
Yeah, I think it's about 170. Obviously, we just got a refund back off the DVLA. We paid 345, didn't we?
Yeah, January.
Yeah, beginning of January, and then we got some money back. So, but I think it's it's 170 quid or around there. So you've got to save in there.
Yeah. Don't forget to tell your insurance
yeah.
company that you've uplated.
Yeah.
There you go. Hope that our experience has been useful for you.
Yes.
And we will see you in the next vlog, which starts the series of France. What do we say, Slow? On y va!